My name is Akinwumi Ambode. I'm contesting to be the next governor of our great state, Lagos. We know there is no wealth without health, and as such, we will be going to great lengths to safeguard the health of every Lagosian. Our government will continue to improve upon the primary healthcare program and increase the number and quality of public health centers that can offer 24/7 services. We will reduce the doctor-patient ratio and support health institutions with more equipment and infrastructure. We will make Lagos the envy of all.
Vote Akinwumi Ambode for Governor of Lagos State.
The power to change Nigeria is in your hands. Your vote and your power for change, oh my people. Oh. Every Nigerian counts. Vote APC for change.
Vote for APC.
Yes.
Vote for APC. Vote for APC.
Yes.
Who's that in APC? Vote for APC.
Yes.
To hear no APC.
The power to change Nigeria is in your hands. Vote APC for change.
Vote for change. Vote APC. APC. Change.
Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Gift or Gete. In our major story, websites of Nigeria's defense headquarters back online after mass hacking. Also in this program, Independent National Electoral Commission says it will not shift the February 2015 general elections. Presidency warns against further attack on President Goodluck Jonathan as presidential campaigns hot up. Outside Nigeria, Saudi Arabia's King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz dies at 90, replaced immediately by Crown Prince Salman. Thanks for staying tuned with us. Now details of the headlines and other stories. The website of Defence Headquarters, defenceinfo.mil.ng, is back online after it was hacked and defaced earlier in the day. The hacker described himself on the site as Maniac K for sure. The Defence spokesman Chris Olukolade confirmed that the website has been restored. He described the situation via his Twitter handle as an ISIS-type effort to hack into government platforms. An individual using the Twitter handle at Imam Sadiq 123 had claimed responsibility for the act. The Defence spokesman later explained in a statement that the hackers only defaced the front end of the site but failed to infiltrate its database. He noted that the site was targeted because of its role as a major channel for disseminating information on Nigeria's counter-terrorism campaign. Olukolade ordered that Ima Sadiq 123, her post at the hacker, has since been knocked off. The Independent National Electoral Commission is not prepared to tinker with the dates set aside for elections next month. INEC Chairman Tahiru Jaga said on Friday that no logistic challenge can stop the presidential election from holding on February 14th. Jaga spoke at the launch of an EU-sponsored project on preventing electoral violence in Abuja. Basiaye reports.
It's a few weeks to the 2015 election, and not surprising, politicians are stepping up their campaigns. But a number of people have also been selling the idea of a possible shift in the election for varying reasons. For the NSA, the large stock of permanent voters' cards still lying uncollected at INEC's office is enough reason. But the commission chairman is not prepared to entertain such thoughts.
I have said everything we are doing, including the challenge of the distribution of permanent voters' cards, we believe is something we can address long before February 14th.
Jaga, however, maintained that INEC will not relent until eligible voters pick up their PVCs. The INEC chairman also quelled fears that registration in some wards had been cancelled.
Any person who has registered would have his voters' cards produced and made available for him or her to pick so that they can participate in the election.
And now that the Electoral Commission insists on holding elections as scheduled, it plans to ensure logistic challenges are resolved on time.
There have been lapses in some cases by contractors moving without security arrangement. But the key issue really is externalization. People are looking for ways to externalize this. And something that is small can easily be addressed. Before you know it, is headlines in newspapers and so on.
The gathering is one in a series lined up to generate awareness and keep stakeholders abreast of preparation for the all-important January election next month. Basiaye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
A coalition of 60 civil society groups has rejected a demand by the National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki for next month's election to be postponed. The Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room described excuses given by the NSA as unnecessary interference in INEC's independence. The coalition recollects that the Commission's chairman, Professor Tahiru Jaga, recently assured CSOS that every effort would be made to ensure that intending voters collect their PVCs before the February elections. It therefore urged INEC to put measures in place to ensure unhindered and speedy distribution of any outstanding and uncollected PVCs. The CSOS also wants Nigerians to go out en masse to collect their PVCs before the end of the exercise. Following the attack on the convoy of President Goodluck Jonathan and leaders of the People's Democratic Party in Katsina and Bauchi states by alleged supporters of the All Progressives Congress, the presidency on Friday cautioned the opposition party to rein its supporters. Special advisor to the President on Political Affairs, Hamid Al-Khali, said in a statement captioned, "This nonsense must stop," that the action of APC supporters was a negation of the non-violence peace pact signed recently in Abuja by all the presidential candidates. It said that the successive incidents in Katsina and Bauchi states where irate youths unleashed terror on the convoy of the president was an ominous win that blows no one any good. The president's aide ordered that the situation where any citizen of Nigeria, least of all the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, would be made unsafe in any part of the country was unacceptable and stands condemned. Senate President David Mark has condemned what he described as consistent attacks on President Goodluck Jonathan and the People's Democratic Party. It says the action of the people suspected to be supporters of the opposition is an affront on democracy and the betrayal of the recent peace pact endorsed by the political parties and their candidates. Mark, who spoke at the flag-off of Federal Capital Territory FCT PDP presidential and National Assembly campaign in Wari Area Council, said the attack is condemnable by any right-thinking member of the society. He noted that campaigns are avenues to tell the electorate what has been done and what is planned for them, not a battlefield. The Senate President also maintained that PDP will never be intimidated in any part of the country. In a related issue, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has warned against violent attacks on the campaign team of President Goodluck Jonathan in some parts of northern Nigeria. He insists in a Facebook post that there is no justification for anyone to attack the president's convoy. Atiku argued that the only way to show discontent in a democracy is through the ballot, not violence. One of Nigeria's 28 registered political parties, the People's Democratic Movement, has resolved to back the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, in the February 14th election. The decision was taken at a National Executive Council meeting in Abuja. PDM Chairman Bashir Ibrahim said in a communique issued at the end of the meeting that party leaders considered the track record of Buhari and that of the incumbent President Goodluck Jonathan before making a choice. The party says it has 6 million registered members across the country and will mobilize them to vote for the APC candidate on February 14th. It, however, noted that it would be fielding candidates for other elective positions. The Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose has again taken a swipe at the candidature of the presidential flag bearer of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari. Fayose speaking at PDP's campaign rally in Ekiti North Senatorial District while drumming support for the candidates, defends his death wish advertorial placed in 2 national dailies. He insists that he is unapologetic and stands by his words in the advertorial.
It's politics. Like every politics of the world in America, everybody says exactly the high points of your candidates and the weak points of your opponents. That's politics. And like I said, I have no apologies. I'm saying the obvious. I meant every word in that advert. I am not apologetic about it. I say it emphatically, Nigeria needs a young, dynamic, active individual to lead this country. We don't want a president that will rule by proxy. I stand by that advert.
All the registered political parties participating in next month's general elections in Edo State have entered into a peace deal against violence before, during and after the elections. The political parties signed the dotted line shortly after the state resident electoral commissioner Mike Igene administered the oath in Benin City, the Edo State capital. The state's resident electoral commissioner tasked the parties at the stakeholders forum to be alive to their responsibilities and ensure free, peaceful and credible elections. The report.
Before, during, and after the election, and our commitment to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and all electoral acts, laws and
While appreciating all the parties at the forum, Igene says in addition to peace accord, the meeting is to sensitize the stakeholders ahead of the general elections on the PVC card reader and the need to abide by the electoral laws and its principles. The resident electoral commissioner, who was meeting the various political gladiators in Benin for the first time, also displayed 983 stolen permanent voter cards returned to the commission and appealed to those still in possession of stolen PVCs to return them.
Return because of the knowledge of the utility. These are the PVC. And so, in fact, they are even confused. How do you see, if you take 5 PVC, how do you presumably even distribute them for the owners? Is it the problem of INEC or the problem of the people?
Meanwhile, some candidates contesting the February elections and other stakeholders during the question and answer session raised doubts on the effectiveness of the PVC card reader.
If the card reader is snatched on that day, what happens? We'll go back to analog. And I don't know if I heard you clearly. Are we going to still do accreditation before using the card? Because
I've complained to the Commissioner of Police. Thank God he has put a huge law enforcement officer to investigate. But I want that to intensify so that we don't create problem for our society.
Igini, while assuring the stakeholders on the new device, said the PVC card reader is aimed at returning power to the people. The state NUJ chairman Desmond Agbama took advantage of the meeting to remind him and security representatives about the safety of journalists on election day.
It's a return of power to the people. That is what is intended to achieve. Now, this card reader, as I told you, is configured the polling unit, cannot be transferred, and your own PVC can also be used anywhere other than where it has been configured. Collation officer.
The resident electoral commissioner, while giving assurance on the effectiveness of the card reader, said it takes less than 30 seconds for a voter to be accredited and that INEC has created voting points in the various polling centers beside the unit to facilitate the process. He urged the political parties to quickly carry out their selection of agents and forward their names immediately, warning that the commission will not tolerate lateness.
As the 2015 general elections draw near, a lawmaker from Plateau State representing Pangshin, Kanke Kanan, federal constituency in the House, has urged the electorate to ensure that only people with experience are allowed to go to the National Assembly. Emmanuel Gore says the people will do themselves a great disservice if they let go an experienced lawmaker for a newcomer. He is also of the view that the business of lawmaking requires experience gathered from the parliament over the years.
You know, take Benue for example. Last 2 weeks, about 2 weeks ago, they came out to endorse Mark for the 4th time. By implication, he's going to spend 20 years in the parliament. You can imagine the type of legislator he is. Take Abdul Ningi, for example, from Bauchi. He has spent 16 years now. Farouk Lawal in Kano. I mean, this type of people, when they stand, you can listen to how they speak. They speak from a background of an experienced legislator, and they add value to what we deserve, what we desire in Nigeria.
It's CoreTV Prime Time News. President Goodluck Jonathan releases 26 billion naira for dry season farmers. Find out more on this and other stories after this time out. Stay with us.
From the west to the east, the north, and to the south of our country, the APC with their governors have been busy building a better life for Nigerians. The APC with their governors have built more roads, schools, bridges, hospitals, universities, and independent power plants, generated more internal revenue, and created more jobs than the rest of the Federation combined. Now, imagine what we could do when we are the federal government.
Vote for change! Vote APC! APC! Change!
Your account is too low for this call.
Never get stranded with MTN Extra Time. You can now borrow airtime and pay back at your next recharge. Dial *606# now to enjoy the new MTN Extra Time.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, a recap of our major headlines. Websites of Nigeria's defense headquarters back online, aftermath hacking. Independent National Electoral Commission says it will not shift the February 2015 general elections. Presidency warns against further attack on President Goodluck Jonathan as presidential campaigns hotter. Don't forget that you can also catch us on our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. On Twitter at CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, it's youtube.com/CoreTV News. President Goodluck Jonathan has released 26 billion naira for dry season farming in the country. He announced the palliative to thousands of farmers who converged on Abuja for this year's agricultural festival. President Jonathan also used the opportunity to reel out the achievements of his administration in the sector.
These farmers are here at the Eagle Square, a usual venue for political rallies. But today, the occasion is different. They are here to showcase their agricultural produce. It also provided a campaign platform for President Jonathan to outline his achievements in the sector. He announced the immediate release of 26 billion naira for dry season farming.
To further boost the efforts to produce more food for our nation, I'm pleased to announce yesterday the release of 126 billion naira towards the 2015 dry season farming program. I'm here today as the president. With the support, I hope to be here next year as the president, and then I will do even more for you, for our farmers, and for our dear country.
President Jonathan also reeled a list of his achievements in agriculture, including how local rice industry is thriving. The man driving reforms in the sector told the gathering that there is no going back on efforts to make farming more attractive to young people. The agriculture minister gave an insight into some of the initiatives the Jonathan administration introduced into the sector.
Just yesterday, in my office, checks worth over 123 million naira were given as grants to 27 young agripreneurs. You have opened a great future for them. Mr. President, the harvest is bountiful all across our land. In the past 3 years, we have added 21 million metric tons of food to our food supply. Inflation has been on a downward trend due to higher food production. Agriculture has created fiscal buffers for the economy, and our food import bill has declined. We are feeding ourselves with pride.
These young farmers are full of gratitude for government's agricultural programs that are targeted at the youths. They, however, appeal for more support for farmers in rural areas.
We, the farmers, the young farmers, if we receive this kind of encouragement from the federal government, I think we are going to go places. Because right now, we are well aware that the price of oil has fallen in the national market. So now this country is looking up to us, the youth, to come into agriculture because we have more energy to work.
The president has really tried when it comes to agriculture, in the sense that there was a UN program organized for youth. I was one of the participants of the just concluded WAP program organized by the MDGS and the NYSC, which is used basically to empower people in the agri sector. And yesterday, I was at FDA, Federal Department of Agriculture. They were giving grants to some youths that has made themselves successful in the field of agriculture, basically. So in the field of agriculture, he has really made a tremendous stride, and at least he should be given kudos for that.
The farmers were thrilled to different displays by Nollywood actors and actresses who were there to spice up the occasion.
Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose has signed the 2015 appropriation bill into law. Fayose, who promised to execute the budget to the letter, also signed, amongst other bills, the law to repeal the establishment of the Ekiti State Peace Corps. The Speaker and leader of the PDP caucus in the State House of Assembly, Dele Olugbemi, used the opportunity to call on the 19 APC lawmakers to return to their legislative duties. Rashid has the report.
At a brief ceremony that saw the governor sign 4 bills into law, the Speaker and leader of the PDP caucus in the House of Assembly, Dele Olugbemi, expresses support for the government of Fayose as he advised APC lawmakers to resume their legislative duties.
The APC lawmakers who have constituted themselves into a roving ambassadors should choose the path of honors and come back home to join hands with the present administration. They should wake up to the realities of things in the state and stop daydreaming. This is my honest advice to them.
The governor, Ayodele Fayose, who signed the 2015 budget into law, also signed into law the change of Ekiti State logo back to the Fountain of Knowledge, with a promise that education will get special attention.
Today, the fountain, we want to sustain the water in it. We want to actually make it a fountain of knowledge. And this budget is going to play a major role in the handling of education.
The bill to disband the Ekiti State Peace Corps created by the Kayode Fayemi administration was also signed into law.
The Ekiti Peace Corps, the original conception of it was to be used for things other than the good of it. And for us, they are only answering the name, but the intention is different. We have a police, we have other agencies that can enforce the laws of the land. And therefore, the law that has established the Peace Corps in Ekiti has been repealed.
The governor also signed into law the grant of pension bill. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
Watching CoreTV Primetime News, will take another break and return with business, sports and other stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
You can collect your permanent voters card PVC at your local government office until January 31st. Collect your PVC. Yeah. Collect your PVC. Yeah. Collect your PVC. Yeah. Vote for change. Vote APC. APC change.
Your account is too low for this call.
Never get stranded with MTN Extra Time. You can now borrow airtime and pay back at your next recharge. Dial *606# now to enjoy the new MTN Extra Time. MTN, everywhere you go.
Thanks for staying tuned with us. We join Sabina Izogbo for Market Report.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report is brought to you by MTN.
MTN, everywhere you go.
And welcome to the Stock Market Report segment with me, Sabina Izuku. The equities market on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange closed on a positive note today as the Nigerian All Shares Index appreciated slightly to close at 29,812.05 basis points. The market capitalization closed at 9.92 trillion naira. A total volume of 741.5 million units of shares, valued at 12.6 billion naira, were exchanged in 4,082 deals. On the gainer side, Guinness topped the gainers chart to close at 129 naira 99 kobo with a difference of 2 naira 97 kobo gain, followed by Flour Mill, Presco, Unilever and Okumo Oil. On the flip side, 40 Oil topped the chart, trailed by West African Production Company of Nigeria, Nigerian Breweries, Dangote Flour and Owando Oil. Meanwhile, Owando Oil topped the traders chart, followed by Axis Bank, Diamond Bank, United Bank for Africa, and First Bank of Nigerian Holdings. And before we wrap up the stock market report, here's the currency trade for today.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report is brought to you by MTN.
MTN, everywhere you go.
There you have it, Stock Market Report. We'll take another break and be back with sports. Stay with us.
From the west to the east, the north, and to the south of our country, the APC with their governors have been busy building a better life for Nigerians. The APC with their governors have built more roads, schools, bridges, hospitals, universities, and independent power plants, generated more internal revenue, and created more jobs than the rest of the Federation combined. Now, imagine what we could do when we are the federal government.
Vote for change! Vote APC! APC! Change!
Power style, that's what he delivered.
Here's that ball storming, now he takes.
Toyo with a flying lead.
Go, taking them out in the lead.
And now from the sports scene, the Confederation of African Football, CAF Executive Committee has released the format for the 2017 African Cup of Nations AFCON qualifiers. According to a statement by CAF, the host country of the 2017 edition will be announced after the CAF Ordinary General Assembly scheduled for April 8 in Cairo. CAF says that the qualifiers for the 31st edition of the AFCON would begin on June 8 to June 16th, and that it will for the first time include the host nation. It stated that the matches to be played by host countries would count as friendlies for them with no points. It said that 52 teams would take part in the qualifiers, with the team divided into 13 groups of 4 teams each. It indicated that only one team would qualify along with the host team in their group, according to CAF. If any team withdraws from a group, the group will not be considered for best runner-up. CAF said that its executive committee has approved the format for the qualifiers of the 2018 FIFA World Cup to be hosted in Russia. The reigning CAF Women Player of the Year, Azizat Oshoala, has become the first African to secure a move to any English Women's Super League outfit after signing for Liverpool from Rivers Angels. The 2014 African Women Player of the Year inspired the Super Falcons to win the 2014 African Women Championship in Namibia, as well as help Rivers Angel lift the Nigeria Women Premier League and Federations Cup titles. Matt Bird's Liverpool are currently preparing for forthcoming WSL and Champions League campaigns, having retained their league title on the final day in 2014. Ladies boss Matt Bird also expressed her delight following the capture of the Nigerian youth pedigree. Manchester City manager Manuel Pellegrini says his players must believe they can win without Yaya Toure after failing to do so in the 4 league games he has missed this season. Toure is currently on international duty with Ivory Coast at the African Nations Cup, and his departure has coincided with City losing to Arsenal and drawing with Everton in their last 2 Premier League outings. The only other 2 league games he has missed this season have ended in draws with Botany in December and Arsenal earlier in the campaign. Having cancelled out a substantial deficit to Chelsea, they have since fallen 5 points adrift of the Premier League summit once more. But with a crunch clash against the leaders to come next weekend, Pellegrini has urged his players to move ahead and overcome the psychological blow of losing the powerhouse midfielder who will be unavailable till next month. City will face an FA Cup fourth round trip to second-tier Middleburg on Saturday, arrive back in Britain after a winter break in Abu Dhabi on Friday, around 21 hours before kick-off. Pellegrini decided to stay away an extra day after being given the option to return on Thursday, but denies that the tight turnaround could cause problems. Middlesbrough are second in the championship, and Pellegrini is not planning to rest players and risk an upset. Another wild card has entered the pack of candidates challenging Sepp Blatter for the presidency of FIFA in May's election. Mino, a soccer agent whose clients include Mario and Zlatan, the 47-year-old Dutchman with Italian roots, need to get 5 football associations to support his bid, and that he has been active in football for at least 2 of the last 5 years before the deadline for submitting bids expires in midnight next Friday, January 29. Former FIFA Deputy Secretary General Jerome Champagne of France and FIFA Asian Vice President Prince Ali bin Al Hussein of Jordan are considered the only serious contenders, although Champagne has admitted he does not yet have 5 nominations. David Ginola, the former France international who announced his candidature last week at the press conference in London, has been dismissed as a publicity stunt, as it was organized by a betting firm. The vote for the presidency takes place at the FIFA Congress in Zurich on May 29. Flying Eagles assistant coach Nduka Ugbade says he is confident that his team will give a good account of themselves at the Super 6 tournament, which kicks off on Saturday at the Abuja International Stadium. The Flying Eagles and the Nigeria U23 team have been handed special invitations to feature in the pre-season competition, which has drawn league champions Kano Pillars, Eyimba, Warri Wolves and Dolphins. The Nigeria Under-20 arrived Abuja on Thursday from their training base in Kaduna and will play their first match on Saturday at the Abuja National Stadium against league runners-up Eyimba. On Monday, they will take on Nigerian champions Pillars before the battle Warri Wolves on Wednesday and Dolphins on Friday. Their final match in this round-robin competition will be Sunday, February 1st against Dream Team. The Flying Eagles have been boosted with the arrivals of Musa Yahaya from the Tottenham youth team and Chidera Eze, who is with the PC Porto youth setup. Skipper Musa Mohammed, Ifeanyi Matthew and Wilfred Ndidi, who have been away in Europe, are expected to join up before the team's first game against Eyimba. And now outside Nigeria. Saudi Arabia's King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz, who spent almost a decade on the throne of the world's largest oil exporter, died on Friday and was replaced by Crown Prince Salman. The late monarch's half-brother, Marquien, was named as the new Crown Prince, according to a statement issued to the effect. Abdullah has, however, been buried after the afternoon prayers, with citizens invited to pledge allegiance to the new monarch and Crown Prince at the Royal Palace. King Abdullah, believed to be around 90 years old, was hospitalized on December 31st last year for checks. The Royal Court announced 2 days later that he had pneumonia and was breathing with the aid of a tube. Abdullah came to the throne in 2005 but had been a powerful figure in the kingdom for a decade before that, after the king Fahd suffered a stroke in 1995. In recent years, Abdullah's advanced age and poor health have raised concerns about the future leadership of the largest producer in the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Abdullah's half-brother Salman, 79, became Crown Prince in June 2012, following the death of Prince Nayef bin Abdulaziz Salman has been representing the king at most recent public events because of Abdullah's ailing health. In March 2014, King Abdullah named another half-brother, Prince Moquin, as a second crown prince in an unprecedented move aimed at smoothing succession hurdles. A former Air Force officer born in 1945 as the youngest son of King Abdulaziz Al Saud, the founder of Saudi Arabia. The throne has systematically passed from one of his sons to another, brothers and half-brothers. The late king pushed the kingdom's economic development and oversaw its accession to the World Trade Organization while challenging conservatives with moves such as including women in the Shura Council and advisory body. And just before we go, a recap of our major headlines. We told you that the website of Nigeria's Defense Headquarters is back online after mouth hawking. There was also a report that the Independent National Electoral Commission says it will not shift the February 2015 general elections. We also told you that presidency warns against further attack on President Goodluck Jonathan as presidential campaigns hot up. That's our show for tonight. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Get. Do have a lovely, lovely night rest. Good night.